just by yourself, right? You are a loan designer. That's it. Now, since we know what a loan designer is at this stage, I would like for us to talk about the two major types of loan designers that we have almost everywhere. And these two major types of loan designers are, number one, loan designers who are just starting out their design career and are designing to build a portfolio. That's the number one type of loan designer. Now, the number two type of loan designer that we have are loan designers who work alone in a startup. Now, I believe that every loan designer here, right, in this session falls under one of these two categories. So in this session, we are going to talk about the things that you can do to improve your efficiency as a loan designer who is just starting out a design career, or as a loan designer who works alone in a startup. Okay, someone is saying they can't hear anything. I'd like to confirm if everyone can't hear me. If you can hear me, please say yes in the chat box if you can hear me. I'm seeing a chat here that's okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, let's start with the loan designer who is just starting out a design career and has to build a portfolio by themselves all alone, because we know that many product designers these days are product designers who are starting out in the field and they are trying to build a portfolio. Like it is a very great thing here that we have a career where all you have to do is come in, design a portfolio and get a job with that. Like it is very, very cool. So we have many loan designers these days who are just designers starting out a career and they are trying to build a portfolio by themselves. Now, for that designer, for that type of loan designer, I have a template for you that can help improve your efficiency. Now, this is the template here. I would explain how the template works and how you can use this template to improve your efficiency as a loan designer who is just starting out a career in design. So if you guys can still see my screen clearly, before I start to explain, if you can see my screen clearly and you can hear me clearly, please just give me that assurance by saying yes in the chat box so that I can proceed. All right then, thank you very much. So what we have here, this is a template that I have used for some designers, or let's say over 35 designers actually have adopted this template, and it has yielded results. Now, there are key things you need as a loan designer working alone and coming up. Now, there are things that you need to put yourself in every day so that you don't lose touch, or so that one side of you don't suffer and the other side suffers. So this template is divided into five major sections, right? The education section, the research section, the design or write section, the career actions section, and the public facing section. So as a loan designer who is just starting out a career in design, like let's say you are 2 months old, 2 weeks old, you are 6 months old in the field, and you are still finding it hard to work on your own to come up with a very good case study or a very good portfolio. Yeah, this template can really help you streamline all the things that you need to do to look attractive to anyone who is hiring. So this template goes like this. As a loan designer who is just working alone, trying to build your portfolio, every day you should spend 45 minutes on something educative, on anything education, design education, just 45 minutes. Now, you don't need to spend 1 hour, 2 hours, or those type of hours, right? You don't need that. Just 45 minutes. 45 minutes is okay to spend on design education every day. Now, every day, these are the things you can do to improve yourself as a lone designer trying to build a portfolio. Now, these are the things to do. You can watch a YouTube design course, watch a Udemy design course, read a design book, read a design article, or listen to a design podcast. Now, you can do every day, do one of these. Every day, do one of these for 45 minutes. After you are done for 45 minutes, then move on the same day, move on to conduct a research for 20 minutes. Now, this is going to be a design-related research. Now, do this for 20 minutes. Now, the next question you might want to ask is, what do you research on? Now, as a lone designer coming up or trying to build your portfolio, you need to research to expand your mind. Your mind needs to see things from different perspectives. In a guided way, though, your mind needs to spread. So every day, use 20 minutes to look up designs and case studies on Behance. Like, go to Behance, look up case studies, study how they are being designed, and look at the case studies that get more appreciation. Then try to look at what the case study actually has that is unique from every other case study. So you can build up information and knowledge that way. So you can also choose to look up designs on awards. You can also look up designs on mobbing. You can also research on articles and videos you may love to look at later. Now, you can also research on items you can create a case study for. Now, this is something that is very important, Many people ask me, how do they come up with topics that they can create a case study for, What I normally say is this: you can always look for where there are problems and try to provide a digital solution for it. Now, it's not always that you need a digital solution for a problem. A case study as a UX designer doesn't necessarily mean that you will always provide an app solution to a problem. You can come up with a cultural design solution. You can come up with a social design solution. You can even come up with a humanitarian design solution for a problem. All you need to know is find the problem and think of the best way the problem can be solved. Then you document the way you think the problem can be solved. That is you documenting your research. So one place you can actually see problems, especially for those of us here in Africa, you can go to the UNDP's website, the United Nations, I think that it's United Nations Development something program. I don't know the full meaning though, but UNDP, they have development issues a lot on their platform. Now you can look at the development issues that they have. These are social issues. Some of them need digital solutions like mobile apps and web apps, and some don't. Some just need a social design solution. And you can document a research on how such problems can be solved. When you do that, you can publish that on Behance. That is a case study. A case study must not always be a mobile app or a web app. That is you. A case study is you picking up a problem and saying how the problem can be solved. So if the problem can be solved with a mobile app, that's fine. If it can be solved with a web app, that's fine. If it can be solved with Google Form or Google Sheet, that's fine still. Whatever can solve the problem or whatever you think will solve the problem better, then you can go with that. So carry out research for 20 minutes every day. Now, this is every day. These 5 things, these 5 things is what you should do. This is how you should carry out your day-to-day design life to build yourself and to also look very valuable to anyone who is trying to hire you. Now, after you research, you can do one of these things. Do one of them, not all of them. Do one of them each day. If you are done researching for 20 minutes, time yourself, don't go more than 20 minutes. Then you move on to the next task, which is to design or to write. Now, why I say design or write is because to create a case study, you don't always have to design. Most times you have to write also. And knowing how to write and document your case study is a gift. It is something you have to put into consideration. Personally, someone like me, I am not a very good writer. So most of the time when I see someone who can write, I always cherish them because writing is not really easy. So you can spend your time writing also, learning how to write as a UX researcher, and you can also design. So this should be done for 45 minutes. Now, you should do this with purpose. You should do this with purpose. Now, what should you design or what should you write? If you come here, I have listed them here. You can do one of these every day. You can design a part of your case study. Now, this is you having a purpose. You have a task to complete. You are designing or you are building a case study, right? So you can design a part of it for 45 minutes. Or you can write a part of your case study for 45 minutes. Or you can write a short design article on any design topic. Now, I would like to say this. Design articles don't have to be comprehensive. They don't have to be complex or deep. You can write a design article on auto layout. You can write a design article on rectangles. You can write a design article on circles. That's how easy it is to get a design article out. In 2 minutes, 3 minutes, someone is done reading the design article. As long as the article sells value for any topic that you are writing on, you are good to go. So you don't have to be a very complex author to have a design article out. And that can actually build your presence. The more articles you have, the more confidence you are building about what you know, and the more you learn actually. So spend 45 minutes to do any of these things. Now, the last thing you can do here is to replicate the internet. This is something that builds your design skills. Now, I've had designers starting out always complaining that their designs don't look really cool like the ones they see online. Most of the time, yeah, all you need is time. All you need is practice. Yes, it happens a lot. It happens a lot. When you start out, you might finish designing and look at other designs and be like, wow, my design doesn't look like this. Sometimes it's the font size. Sometimes it's the font weight. Sometimes it's the letter spacing. Sometimes it's the white space. It's always the very little things. And one of the reasons why beginners don't think it is the little things is because beginners are easily anxious. They want to overwork on it. They want to put in too much work. So that leads to them sometimes overshooting the size of the font or over reducing the size of the font or making the font too bold where it's not necessary. And these are the little things that makes the design of any product look mature and classy. So don't stress yourself about that. All you need is practice. When you keep practicing, you would realize that your designs of the future will be better than the designs you create now. So spend 45 minutes every day after doing your research for 20 minutes to design or to write. Then after that, it is okay. You move on to other things that can improve your life, that can improve the situation you find yourself in. Now, I also tell people that just because you started designing last month doesn't mean that you are not deserving of an opportunity in the industry. If you started designing last week, you deserve an opportunity. Everyone deserves an opportunity. So if you shoot yourself down and say you don't deserve an opportunity, it can be from you having what they call it, impostor or imposter syndrome. I don't know how they pronounce it. It can be impostor or imposter. So anyone is fine. You might be shooting yourself down from having the imposter syndrome. You get. But I would advise you not to do that. If you started designing last week or last month, anytime, you deserve a chance in the industry. So every day after you have dedicated time for design education, research, and you have designed or you have written, then dedicate 20 minutes for career actions. 20 minutes for career actions. Now, these 20 minutes, you can do any of this. You can watch a video on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, yeah? You can watch a video on how to create a good resume or cover letter. And you can sign up to job boards. There are many job boards out there. Y Combinator job boards. There is startup.jobs. We work remotely. There are lots of them out there. You can sign up to job boards or join any job Slack channel. Then you can spend 20 minutes to remodel your resume and send 2 applications for a junior role or an internship. Then you can spend 20 minutes connecting with professionals and recruiters on LinkedIn using a personalized message. Now, when you want to connect, you just don't send connect notice like that. You connect with a personalized message saying, hey, so and so person, nice to connect with you here. I am so and so person doing design for this and this. And this is what I have done. This is what I'll do. I hope to connect with you later. Or just something that actually sells a connection with who you are connecting with. So you can spend 20 minutes a day doing any of these for your career. So you take actions for your career because your career won't take actions for itself. Then after that, spend 20 minutes again for the day doing what I call public facings. Now, excuse my English, I'm not that very good. Like I told you guys, I'm not very good with words here. So I just call this public facings. I was looking for like, I've been thinking of what to call this. But what I mean by public facings is that put yourself out there in the public. Put yourself out there in the public. So do this for 20 minutes also every day. If you click here, you see the things you can do. One thing you can do is tweet about a design thing you learned, or publish a post on LinkedIn that talks about your design journey for the day, for that particular day. Remember, for this day you have done education, research, you've written or you've designed, and that's enough thing to write about. So you can publish a post on LinkedIn that talks about what you achieved for that day, right? Or you can, if you're a TikTok guy or you're a TikTok lady or you're a TikTok person, you post a TikTok on LinkedIn or you post a video on LinkedIn, yeah? You post a TikTok video or a LinkedIn video on a design thing that you have learned. Now, share your articles on Twitter and LinkedIn also. You can do any of this for 20 minutes. Any of this. Now, if you repeat this cycle every day you repeat this cycle. In the next 1 month, 2 months, you must have learned a lot, you must have known a lot, you must have done a lot. So it is not just learning, you will learn, you will know, and you will do. Then you will take actions to better your life, or you will take actions to give you more opportunities to learn more, because I keep saying that no matter what you learn as a designer or even as an engineer, no matter what you learn at home, no matter the course you purchase, no matter the boot camp you attend, and all the knowledge you have, when you get a job, the ball game is different. It's always different when you get a job. You learn more on a job, more than you learn more when you're learning alone. So that's why you also need a job. That's why you need a job. So you get a job to learn more and to earn more. Of course, person has to job now. So those are the 5 steps, or those are the 5 things I think you can do every day as a lone designer starting out your career in design. So you can invest your time in education, research, doing, career actions, and public facings. Now, you can also track yourself. This shouldn't be a template where you use where you create to just say things and don't do it. You should track yourself. So this is the tracking timeline here. You'd say, okay, like today, for this you'd come here and you'd say done. Something like this. If you have done this, you say done. You come here, you say done. Now, this looks really, really soft. 45 minutes, 20 minutes. I think everything here is about 2 hours and 30 minutes or so. Now, this looks really easy. Yeah? It looks really easy, but out of 24 hours a day, if you can dedicate 2 hours, 30 minutes to your self-development, that's a win, actually. So it's not about dedicating 5 or 6 hours. It's about dedicating, even if it's 20 minutes consistently. It is the consistency that counts. It is not the amount of hours you put in that counts. It's the consistency. So you track all you have done. If you have not done this, you can use any word there. You can say not done or pending. No, just say not done. You say not done. Then you say done. So you track all of this so that you can also track your efficiency. So you put this in. But if you don't track your efficiency, of course, that won't be the best for you. So you have to track your efficiency. Now, the next day, you would come here, you would copy this cell, come here, you paste the cell or you paste the row, whatever that is. You paste it, then you change the date and track your actions for that day. So now this is you documenting your learning journey. This is you documenting, like I also say, as a designer or as a developer, documenting your journey is very important. So this is you documenting your journey. You can actually bring this out one day at a conference. You can speak at a conference and you present this, and you can also create an article out of this. So you can also create a template or a model out of this. This can be really handy. So this is you documenting your journey, and this template helps you learn, helps you research, helps you to do, and helps you to put yourself out there, which is all you need for your career. So if you learn and you don't do, it's faulty. If you learn, you do, and nobody knows that you sabi. But when you use all of this, yeah, then I think this template will really come in handy. So this template is meant for new designers, who are coming up, or designers who are lone designers and just trying to start a career in design, and also building a portfolio for themselves. This can help you. Reason a template is important so that you don't have the attention problem that we have in this world today, where there's too many information, there are too many things that can distract you. Today you can find yourself designing a mobile app, you abandon it tomorrow to jump on a different design, and you design that and you are not done, then you move on to another design, and so on and so forth. Now, that can hinder your growth as a designer. The goal is to grow, yeah? So that can hinder your growth as a designer. So this template is it. So if you have any questions for this template, you talk about it before I talk about the other lone designer who works in a startup. So if you have any questions, I'll leave 1 minute or 2 minutes for this. You can say it in the chat box and I'll respond to it. After this, then we are going to talk about the things that the other lone designer who works in a startup can do to improve efficiency. So I'll wait for 1 minute and see if there are any questions. Okay, someone asked a question here. Can we get the Google Sheet? Yes, you can. I'll share the link to the Google Sheet. You can clone or copy and use for your own personal self. So I'll wait if there are any questions. How do I get the template? I'll share the link. Okay, let's share the link. I think I can share the link here. Derek, I think I can share the link here, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, the one with the link candidates, yeah. You guys can clone and use. Okay, no, can view. I don't know how this works, but I'll copy first. Now paste this here. Okay, I'll assume there are no questions at the moment, yeah? So if you guys want me to proceed, please just say yes in the chat box so I can proceed. All right then, thank you very much. So that's that for the lone designer who is just starting a career in design and is building a portfolio all alone. Now let's talk about the other lone designer who works as the only designer. Okay, there is a question. How do you navigate through working and practicing at the same time? Working in a startup, okay, I think we will talk about that just now. But if you're talking about working alone without working alone,
I think maybe somebody who is already working, and then
how that can,
I think it means
how that can work actually. So let's talk about. Okay, I'll talk about that now, Kingsley. I'll talk about that just now. So let's talk about the lone designer who works as the only designer in a startup. Okay, so for the lone designer who works as the only designer in a startup, here are some tips that can improve your efficiency. Number one, I'll come here. I think I should write. I'll write this down and I'll share the Figma link to Derek, and Derek will get that across to everyone. So number one here create a structure that enables self-education. If you're a lone designer working at a startup, no matter how hard it is, if you want to be an efficient designer, being a lone designer, if you want to be efficient, create a structure in your timetable that enables self-education. Now, this self-education, of course, it borders around design. Now, this is so important because as a lone designer in a startup, it is easy for you to abandon self-development due to the overwhelming nature of the position you find yourself in. It is really easy for you to abandon self-development. But the best thing to do is to educate yourself and build capacity. This will also help you deliver better to the startup. Like, this will help you give better results for the startup. And just to add to this, self-education in this context is not selfish. Like, it can also mean you educating yourself about the sector the startup is serving. So, like, let's say the startup is an insurance tech company, creating time for self-education can also mean that you are creating time to learn more about insurance and how it works. That's very important. Educating yourself as the UX designer, right, working at a startup, is really important. So you can educate yourself about the sector that the startup is serving. Because as we know, learning more about the sector that the startup is serving will give you more information to design better products for the sector. So that's number one. As a lone designer working in a startup, create a structure that enables your self-education. That's important. Now, let's talk about point number 2. Point number 2 goes like this: design a communication model. So I would say comms model. Design a communication model, right, for yourself and others in the startup. Now, take note, you are a lone designer, which means you are the only designer in the startup. So design a communication model for yourself and others in the startup. Now, this is a very important point. And what this really means is that you should come up with a structure or a template on how you would communicate with other people in the startup. In this session, I will suggest a communication template that you can use. And the communication template goes like this. For corporate and HR communications, use emails. For corporate and HR communications, use emails, right? Now, reason why I say corporate and HR is that it's not very rampant that corporate and HR items are quick and very urgent. Most times they are noticed, and most times they are things that you can do the next day, or you can do in a week, or sometimes they are just trying to fill you in or ask for some corporate documents. So when it's a corporate and HR communication, use emails. But for anything design related, design your communication model to be that for anything design related. Everyone in the company and you yourself should use Discord or Slack. Anyone that works for you, Discord or Slack. Now, this is it, This communication model is very important. You might be tempted to want to use a very robust communication model, have Miro, have Slack, have emails, have WhatsApp groups, have this and that. Now, all of that can make you miss points. Like, you can miss some communications from those different channels, and also it's going to take up your time. Now, don't take video calls also when it's not necessary. We are going to talk about that. So for anything design related, use Discord or Slack. And for every design update you send to Discord or Slack, make it a video with sound using Loom. Now, this means you have to precise or let's say concise. Like you need to explain everything you do, taking into consideration that you are the only designer in that startup. So you don't expect people to know what you know without you telling them what you know. So if you are sending an update, let's say you are designing a wallet and you are done with the wallet, when you want to send the update to the Discord channel or to the Discord server or the Slack channel, you use Loom, you record it for like 2 or 3 minutes, and you explain in simple words what you have just done. So for every design update that you want to send to the other members of the startup, use Loom, record with sound, and explain in simple English. Now, for every design feedback you get on Slack or Discord, request that it should be a video with sound using Loom. Like, when you send an update to the Slack channel or to the Discord channel, someone or the product manager or maybe the co-founder might say, okay, fine, let's go to the file. I want you to do this. I want you to put this color here, take this out. When it is a design feedback, right? When it's a design feedback, don't take it in text because people sometimes find it hard to explain actions using words. So actions using text. So you should have them use Loom also to record that and send. So they should record and use their mouse to point and explain to make it very clear. This is going to save time. This is because in a startup, sometimes wrong communication can keep you in a loop for 1 week. And it will keep you in a loop of something that's not really worth it, or it will keep you in a loop of something that would have been solved with proper communication. So you design your communication model and you educate everybody in the startup that this is how you want to communicate. This is how you should communicate. If you want me to do this, or I want you to do this, this is how we communicate. So that you track your communication and you deliver on time, because speed is of essence. If you are the only designer in a startup, speed is of essence. So the third thing you should do is this. For yourself, set a consistent window. So set a consistent window for updates. This is where you can be hard on yourself or not too hard on yourself. So you can set a consistent window that for every 3 days, I would send a design update, or I would send a research update, or any updates to the Slack channel or to the Discord server. So when you set that out, it means that everybody at the startup will be waiting every 3 days, or every 2 days, or every 1 week, or every 2 weeks to get an update from you. Now this will avoid, or this will make sure that you don't have to explain or do stand-up meetings every day to each person, or you don't have to jump into meetings when you are not supposed to jump into meetings. Time management and time wasting is one thing that happens at startups where you are the only designer. If you don't design how things work, your time will be wasted and wasted and wasted, just like that. So apart from that, ensure not to send the design updates, right? Don't send the design updates to private chats. Don't send design updates to private chats in the Discord server or the Slack channel. Don't send design updates to private chats. So whenever you want to send a design update, you go to the general channel and you ask everybody. This is to ensure that yes, your design update was seen by the whole members of the startup and when feedback is taken from everyone. This saves your time. This is going to save your time so that you don't give an update to the CTO and the CTO say it's cool. Then the CEO comes next week and say, no, that's not cool. Let's make it right, or let's take all of this out. To avoid all of those back and forth, make sure your updates are public to everyone in the startup. Now, this communication model here that I'm talking about is basically around you saving time, because you can't do much if you are always doing meetings and if you are always redoing things because of poor communication. So if your communication is solid, then you can save time and you can achieve more. And that's what you want to do, because of course that's why you are there, to design. So for your stand-up, like for your presentation, that's up to you and the founders or the members of the startup. You guys can organize that. So this communication template will help you save time, because like I said, you need time. It's going to help you cut out too many meetings and irrelevant back and forth. So that's number 2 on the things you can do to improve your efficiency as a lone designer working in a startup. That's number 2. Number 1, create a time or create a structure for self-education, because you want to keep growing. Yeah. Number 2, design a communication model so that you can save time and you can be more efficient. Now, number 3, yeah, educate your co-workers. Educate your co-workers on design. Educate your co-workers. Now, of course, your co-workers are not designers. They can be engineers, they can be product managers, they can be business analysts, and the rest. Of course, they are not. Important that you educate your co-workers in that startup about design. You don't want to be the only person in the startup that has 100% knowledge on design. You don't want to have 100% knowledge about design and every other person in your startup has 10, 6, 11, 12% about design. Of course, communication will become difficult. So find time. It must not be something you do in a structured way. You can send articles to some of them sometimes. Sometimes you can send YouTube videos. Sometimes you can just slip it in and just talk about design or product or something. But always ensure that you put in deliberate efforts to educate everyone in the startup about design. Now, all you have to do is just explain how design processes are being followed. That's it. Explain how design processes are being followed and explain to them the difference between a realistic design and a non-realistic design. Educate them on the limits they have as a startup when it comes to designing a product and the advantages they have as a startup when it comes to designing a product. Keeping in mind that you are the most educated person there when it comes to product and designing product, yeah? You are the most educated. So it is your duty to inform them about product and how it is being designed so that they can be on the same level of thinking as you and you guys can work seamlessly. It's still bothered around you saving time. Now, I would also want to say this. This education, this action of you educating your co-workers about design here is important. And why is it important? Now, educating your co-workers who are non-designers on how design works can be one of the best things that will happen to you in a startup. This will make communication easier, like I said. This will also give them the capacity to inspect and drop comments in the feedback workspace rather than sending a Discord message. Now, you can walk in, someone come in and see and say, okay, fine, let me drop a comment. Now, you will be sure that, yes, they know how to drop a comment. So all of those little education can help communication and can also help you work better. So in general, it's just going to make your job easier. So that's number 3 on the things you can do to improve your efficiency as a lone designer working in a startup. Number 1, self-education for yourself. Number 2, design a communication model and make it public. Number 3, educate your co-workers on design and the product in general. Now, number 4, the number 4 thing you can do as a lone designer working in a startup is this. Create a template for every recurring task. This is also important. Create a template for every recurring task. Sorry about me typing slow. I'm actually holding my microphone with one hand for every recurring task. So create a template for every recurring task. Now, what do I mean by this? As a lone designer, picture this. As a lone designer working in a startup, your duties may cut across UI design, UX design, social media design, presentation design, and so on and so forth. Anything design will most likely be pushed your way. Anything design. Anything that has to do with colors, most times, they will push it your way. As long as they will need logo most times on anything, they'll say give it to the designer to help us sort it. So one way to improve your efficiency in such a situation, is to ensure that for things like social media designs and presentation designs, you should come up with a template that can be reused for as long as possible, so that you don't need to redesign every day. Just come up with a template that can be used for the social media post and for any presentation design they want. So if there is need for any new social media post, all you need to do is educate one person on how to change the content, copy and paste text, and that's all. So you set out the layout, and all they do is change content, and the social media designs are ready every day or every week. Now, for presentation designs, you can do that with Figma, or you can go to Canva and do that on Canva and give it to them to always use. This is going to save you time from designing these things over and over. And of course, that's not what you are really there for. But since you are the only designer, you can't say no to that, or you can't just say, I want to do it. So that's it. That's number 4 on the things you can do to improve yourself or to improve your efficiency as a lone designer working in a startup. Now, we have talked about 4, Number 1, self-education. Number 2, communication model. Number 3, educate your coworkers about design. Number 4, create a template for every recurring task so that you don't have to redo things over and over. Now, number 5, which is going to be the last point for today, it's almost 8 p.m. So number 5 for number 5, I would say this: don't start the designing of a product if you are the only designer at a startup. Now, picture this. If you are the only designer working in a startup, that startup is mostly a seed startup. It's mostly a little startup. Sometimes the product is not ready, right? So don't start designing that product with a large design system. Don't start with a large design system. I know it is always always fulfilling, or let's say it is always easy for us to put in too many work at that stage and say, okay, we want to have a very complex design system. Now, don't start with a large design system. Don't start with a large design system. That's not cool. If you are a lone designer working in a startup. Now, as a lone designer, you do not want to overcomplicate the process for yourself by starting with a huge design system that has hundreds of styles and hundreds of components. No, you don't want to do that, right? Now, what you do is this: start with a minimal design system. Start with a minimal design system. Create a design system, of course, because you want your product to have a certain visual direction, right? So there is need for a design system, but start with a minimal design system. And by minimal design system, I mean create like necessary type style and text styles, necessary components, necessary color styles, and so on and so forth. You can avoid creating reference styles or reference components, or you can avoid creating things that may be needed for scaling. So create what you need just for the moment. That's the minimal design system. Create what you need just for the moment and use that. You get? So avoid starting with a huge design system. Now, what you should do is this: start with a minimal design system and let the design system grow naturally based on the progress you make while designing the product. I think everyone here knows what a design system is, and we all know that design systems are not static systems. Like, it is not something that you do today and can't update tomorrow. Design systems are dynamic. So you create a minimal design system and allow it to grow based on the growth of the product. This is because at a startup, the products can be redesigned any day. You can wake up tomorrow and there is a new meeting and everything is going to start from scratch. So it happens a lot in startups. Sometimes they might want to bring in some updates that is 70% you redoing everything. So you don't want to spend 2 weeks creating a design system, a very huge design system, and have that taken down just by one stand-up meeting or just by one consultation. So you don't want to do that. Start with a minimal design system and let it grow from there. That's it. So those are the 5 points that I would give for a loan designer working at a startup. Those are the 5 points I would give. Of course, there are other points there. There are other things that you can do as a loan designer working in a startup. There are other things you can do to improve efficiency, but these five steps here, or these 5 items here, can really shape how you manage your time and how you become more efficient. So self-education, communications model, educating your coworkers, creating a template for every recurring task, and starting with a minimal design system. Don't start with a large design system. So that's it. I would leave 1 minute for questions if there are any questions. If anyone has any question, you can ask, and I'll give answer to it before I leave the floor for Derek.
Hello, Joseph. If you have any questions, you can just click on the Q&A. It's right at the general, is at the right. The tab is the right at the other right tab. So you see where the general is, the
You
right
guys
tab
still hear
Q&A.
me? Can you guys still hear me?
So you can just ask your questions in the Q&A, and
Okay. Hope
yeah.
I'm not going to mute myself. Okay. Okay. All right. So if you guys have any questions, please you can ask. Please you can ask. If there are any questions at all, you can ask for 1
Yeah,
minute. Before I hand it over to.
Kingsley had a question about
So
how, if I'm a new designer, but then I'm already working in another field, let's say I'm trying to transition and I'm a new designer, how can I navigate that path? Looking at what you gave earlier for new designers.
okay. Divine says I have no question. So I would hand over the house to Derek, and I would like Derek to continue from where I have stopped. So Derek, you can then come on board. Thank you.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I was saying Kingsley had a question about how to balance work with being a new designer. So if you can maybe start something and then would conclude. Okay, Divine.
Okay. How you can balance work and being a new designer, yeah? What you can do is, okay, there is a task here called public facings. You can choose to drop this if you are someone who has something you are committed to. All you can do is to modify this template. You can choose to take this out. This is 20 minutes. You can take that out. Career actions is really important here. Now, you can choose to take out research also for 20 minutes and combine that with education. So you'd have 45 minutes for education and 45 minutes for designing or writing. Now you can choose to do this once a week, the career actions here. You can choose to do this once a week or twice a week. But these are the two most important actions to take: education and doing. So this is you learning and this is you doing. Now you can choose to do this once a week, and you can choose to not do this at all, or you can choose to do this once a week also. So but this should be done every day: education and designing. If 45 minutes is a lot, you can also bring it down to 30 minutes, 30 minutes, just 1 hour every day. 1 hour every day, and that's fine. I hope that was properly answered. Okay. Can you hear me, Derek?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right.
So another thing you can do if you are a beginning designer is to understand that it's going to take a bit of time. You you should know that the learning process takes a bit of time. So have patience on yourself. Whilst you push yourself, also understand that you need to have patience on yourself and then learn. So yeah, that's the small advice I could give. Hakeem, anything from your side?
Oh, okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. For me, I have been a lone designer for a long time. So from my beginning to now, I've always been the only designer in the team. And I think my advice would be to always be patient with yourself, because sometimes it can be very, very overwhelming. And because of a lot of the videos and a lot of stuff you see online, you think that you are not doing enough. I think the best thing to do is be patient with yourself, be patient with your journey. Take things one step at a time, because when it gets to a point where you feel like you are stuck, that's when the burnout comes in. That's when you really don't like to get to design anymore, and you find a little bit of like frustration with waking up in the morning and trying to open Figma and like work and all, like shuffling all these things. So I think that would be my advice: to be patient with yourself and take things a little bit slower, and small, yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. That's true. Actually, that's true. Very, very true. Patience is key. That's why I keep telling most designers who are starting out, who are actually worried about their designs not looking the way they want it to be. I keep saying, actually, all you need to do is just keep doing it. Just keep doing
Exactly.
it, and just keep going. One day you won't have this issue that you have. So actually, that's true. Patience.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So anyone else can just speak.
Yeah. If
You can go through Derek and speak.
yeah, if you have speaking privileges, you can just unmute your mic and then let us know what you have on your mind. We'll give it a couple of minutes before we bring the session to an end. But then if you have anything to say, um, anything to add, you could just unmute and let us know what you think. All right, Shalom.
All right. Thank you so much, Joseph. It was really nice to be on this session. I think I'll just say, for a loan designer that is just starting out, I would suggest getting an accountability partner, maybe someone that you are learning together, or even if it's someone that is not into design, but someone just to keep you on your toes and check up once in a while. It helps to get you motivated when you're about giving up, and it also helps someone to just help you to ensure that you're sticking to your learning process, because sometimes when no one is watching exactly, you could just tend to get weary or give up along the way, or just pause it for a while, even though it's really advisable to take breaks once in a while. But then, just to ensure you get motivated and not give up, I would suggest get an accountability partner. I'm speaking from experience. It's something that helped me while I started. So that's just it.
That's true. That's true. That's also a very solid one. That's also a very solid one. And one thing that myself I can do and that I do for most loan designers starting out is I always tell them come up with a template like this. Or sometimes I do share this template and I just say, okay, you are starting so and so day. So just keep going. If you've done anything, state it here. If you've not done, say not done. And I'll just be keeping track of it. I'll just help you keep track of what you're doing. That way I don't spend too much time actually in your own life and you don't take much of my time. I don't take much of your time. You don't take much of my time. I just monitor what you do and also guide you on what you should do. Actually, that helps because most people don't know how to navigate these things alone. It is a gift to know how to navigate these things alone, actually. So that's true. I think there's a statement here from Fidelis that says, I agree the headaches I have waking up and opening my lab computer. Not having a partner makes it even more difficult. That's true, Fidelis. Over to you, Derek.
Yeah, that's
I
very
think
true.
I
If you have
have a question. Oh,
yeah,
sorry. Oh, go on.
if you have someone who you can talk to about your work, if sometimes you do pair designing where you can share your screen and then walk the person through the problem you're trying to solve, and then both of you share bounce ideas of each other, I think that helps a lot when you're trying to build your problem solving skills. And it becomes easier when you get to talk to stakeholders because you've already bounce ideas off someone and then you are confident enough sharing your ideas with other people. So it makes a lot of sense to have somebody who is as ambitious or even more ambitious than you so that you don't so that you don't waste that chance to have a learning partner or a designing partner. Yeah, Hakim.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think I've actually reached out to you so many times from presentations and and everything. I think my question was kind of from what you asked earlier. So it's about dealing with like stakeholders. How do you convince, like, as a loan designer, it can be very hard to be able to convince stakeholders, especially when the they are, like, let's say, the shareholders of the company, and you are trying to communicate, like, let's say a design decision that you made. Maybe you've been learning, like as you said, like using your templates, learning about new ideas, trying to find new ways of doing things and new patterns. How do you communicate, like, this new vision to the company? It can be slowly, or it can be in a very big presentation form. But for, like, Joseph, for you, how do you think, or what are some of the ways that, as like a loan designer, you can be able to do and communicate that kind of value to stakeholders, especially when they are very, very difficult to deal with? Thank you.
Okay. One way I do that personally is to visualize the value and to visualize it in a very simple way. Sometimes I might just that's why I talked about using Loom to describe. And sometimes, if I don't want to use Loom, I might just find a way to make it visual because I think people get easy when the value is presented visually. They tend to approach it in a much easier way than they would if you were actually making it complex to them. And also, that's where education comes in also. Education, that's why I also talked about educating people around in the startup. That way you can use that to easily bend them to always see things your way. Actually, if you educate them once in a while, you can easily have them start seeing things from your own lens gradually, and they would start seeing value in most of the things that you bring forward to them. So I think it is just that gap. Most of the disagreements always come from this knowledge gap that exists between the product team and the business team, or the product team and the users in the startup. So I think that way you can easily bridge that gap by visualizing and by educating also. I don't know if that answers the question better.
Thank you so much. I think you answered the question really well. And thank you so much. I actually took a lot of things out of it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Over to you, Derek.
Yeah. So the recording would be sent to your email once you have checked in. Once you registered and you checked in, and the wrap up is sent, you get the recording. I'll do well to also upload it to YouTube, and then I'll share the link on our Twitter. So if you registered via another channel and you are not following our Twitter, kindly do so. I've dropped the link in the chat. Kindly do so, and then once the recording is out, you get it. Also, if you get the recording, just do all to share on your socials, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and tag us. It will do us a whole world of good. Yeah, because you're trying to reach more people with amazing teachings like what Joseph Brendan has done today. We'll be doing more of these sessions. You join us on the other ones that we do. So if we don't have any other questions, I'll just let Joseph give us a closing.
I think there is one question. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me read it. Really insightful session. Thanks, Joseph. As a beginner loan designer, at what point do you know you are ready to join a company? Also, which will you recommend for a beginner loan designer when joining a company? To join a company with a design team, or to join as the only designer? So these are two questions. The first one, at what point do you know you are ready to join a company if you're a new designer?
Okay. I think the answer to the first question is the moment you know you can give off value. The moment you know you can give off value, then that's when you are ready to join. Now, giving up value in terms of research or in terms of UI design, and you can only give up value if you have learned, right? So if you have learned anything in design and you are sure that you know that thing to an extent, then it means you can give that off as value. That means you are ready. So even if it's UX, even if it's UI design, whatever part of product design that you have learned and you know, it means you are ready to give off value from what you know. That means you are ready to join a company. Then for the second question that says, which will you recommend? To join a company with a design team or join as the only designer? Now, I think that is up to you or the company. Sometimes you might join a company with a design team and 2 months later you become the only designer. Yeah. So whichever works for you, that's fine. Whether you join a company with a design team or you join as the only designer, it's all good. You would learn in the process. That's all. So I wouldn't say you should pick preference over joining a company with a design team over the ones with no design team. Yeah, I wouldn't say you should pick anyone as the preferred one. Anyone that comes and is cool, you can join, give value, and learn also. So that's it.
Wonderful. Yovi, if you can confirm you heard everything, drop a yes in the chat. I think, yeah, I also agree with you, because sometimes you join a company that has a design team and then it feels like there's no structure.
Yeah.
It feels like there's no structure. Yeah. So one thing I got from what you said, at least look for structure.
Yes.
You can be the only designer in the team, but then if there's structure, your work will not be as stressful as
Yes.
it's been. Yeah. So look for structure. Look at the company. It depends if it's manageable. Yes. Yeah, but definitely once you keep your mind that the design journey is always a learning journey, and then there's no oh, I'm done learning. You can, in my opinion, you can cope in a lot of places.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. All right. So if you have any questions later, you can put it on Twitter and then tag me, Hakeem, Joseph. Joseph, can we tag you in our questions?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So once you have any questions later, tag me, Hakeem, or Joseph, or the official Friends of Figma account. And then people will come to your aid with answers and recommendations. All right. So thank you so much once again for joining. We'll be having more, and hopefully you join us again. Thank you, Joseph, for
Thank you.
giving us 1 hour of your time, 1 hour 20 minutes of your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you
And
for having me.
we'll talk again
so
later.
much.
Yeah. And the first person to join was Chijoke. So Chijoke will DM you, and I think Chijoke and then Katie. So we'll DM you with, I don't know. Once you DM me, you would know. All right. Thank you so much once again. Thank you so much once again.
Katie, so Katie is here also. That's fine.
Yes. Katie is here and Chijoke. Yeah. Katie was the second person to join. Chijoke was the first.
Okay. That's fine. All right. Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much. Yeah. All right. Enjoy the rest of your night or the
Thank you.
day, wherever you are.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.